Greetings, groovy people. This is the self-proclaimed Blue Dragon, welcoming you to this month's Q&A, March's Q&A. I take questions from my $10 patrons and higher. Those questions always take precedence, and also take some time to answer questions around my free webcomic sites on Tapas, Comic Fury. Haven't had any questions on Webtoons yet, or on my main website, aside from like some stuff regarding the VDSD. So that's what this is. This is one of my reward tiers, is the monthly Q&A. If you have a question or you want to have your question take precedence, feel free to check out my Patreon page. These videos are for adults only, so if you are underage, please do not watch my channel. No offense, come back when you're of legal age if you want to watch what I'm talking about. In the background, I am inking a whole bunch of Act 6 pages that starts posting on Webtoons April 7th, so I do 5 pages a day. I'm a little behind, so I've been working all week on those. I'm just going to be answering random questions. Before we get into this quick shop keep, starting on April 1st, tomorrow, that's tomorrow, the Comic Fury Zine will be accepting applications, thumbnails, storyboards, any kind of visual draft for applications. It's open to everyone who hosts a comic on Comic Fury. However, since this is the not safe for work zine and we're allowing nudity, sex, gore, foul language, what have you, if you are underage for this specific zine, we are not taking applications from anyone who's underage. If you're of legal age, because it is the not safe for work zine, most things are on the table. More information is going to be linked in the description. I'm going to be posting that thread tomorrow. So if it's not here today when this video is live, I will be adding it to the description tomorrow. Alright, I'm going to start with questions that are kind of more personal or not necessarily directly story related, and then I'm going to move into questions I got on Act 5 of the revamp, which is the new deal. And then finally, to avoid as many spoilers as possible, I will be answering a few questions that I have over on Comic Fury with the Act ceremony, which is several pages, several scenes ahead in the story. And I will give a warning as I transition from one topic to the next. So for the personal or not story related questions, first off, it was very kind of a lot of my readers over on both Tapas and Comic Fury. They were asking how my partner's doing. I don't want to get into details. I go into details in a blog that warned everyone why I'm not going to be posting on Comic Fury. But he was sick and in the hospital. But he's doing fine. He's getting better. And he got a job. Oh my god, we've been so worried about that. Like, obviously I'm fine looking for a job, but he would much rather, because he can earn more money than I ever will with any secretary job, he prefers that I work on my comic art and try to build this community. So we were getting a little worried, especially with his health issues and everything, but thankfully we live in Oregon. All of that has been handled, and yeah, he was able to get a job. So things are looking up finally. They were a little bad. I'm sure there's still going to be hard times. There always is in everyone's life, but things are going great. So thank you for your concern, and I appreciate the people who were asking or who were cheering on. They saw he was working on my website last week, so they were happy to see that. So thank you guys. That's very kind of you. Next question, when is Act 3 going to be in the shop? Yeah, it was supposed to be in the shop last year. I have everything ready for print, but I have to reorder the pages in order to make the PDF. And I've just been really preoccupied with other things that are going on, so it's gonna be up there this year. I'm sorry it's not there yet. I had someone last year buying 2 of my acts. I don't know if they're looking for the 3rd act. But I'm sorry it's not up there in PDF form yet. I apologize. The hard copy print is not going to be made until things are safe regarding the pandemic. I don't want to buy a bunch of hard copy books since I'm not doing the convention scene right now. So the hard copies aren't going to come until the conventions start up again. So hope that answers the question. There is new stuff in the Redbubble shop, and I do want to do some more images, but one thing at a time, right? When does Dark Horse start on Webtoons? I already answered that. April 7th is when I start posting 5 pages a day. It's around 25 some odd pages. So we're only going to get like a couple posts in a month, and then I take a month off to work on it. Ideally, just FYI, I would like to work on each act so that there's not a break in between them. I have around 10 readers or so over there, so I appreciate them. If you're watching this video, I appreciate you sticking around. And we're coming back April 7th. Okay, now I'm going to answer some Act 5 questions, revamp questions, essentially. This is regarding the new deal, so if you're new to reading my free Not Safe for Work webcomic Dark Horse, links down in the description, then the rest of this video is going to be a spoiler. I have lots of other videos, shitty tutorial videos. You can go check those out if you want. So the first question, what stuff, quote-unquote stuff, is Rin usually diving for in Ryan's room? Ryan is her brother, her older brother who's in college. She leaves it really vague when she's shoving Yuli into his room to hide him. The stuff, yeah, she will sneak in there, usually for dirty magazines. She's intentionally vague because Ryan is hetero and has girly magazines. So yeah, the stuff she sneaks in there for are his magazines, and if he's dumb enough to leave his pot stash somewhere, she knows where he hides it, so, but he doesn't have any right now. He's either doesn't have it there, or she smoked it. Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff she's looking for. I mean, like, she steals, like, his books and, like, CDs and shit like that, you know? Like, she mostly listens to 60s and 70s, but, you know, he's really into grunge, so she'll, like, sometimes steal his CDs and stuff and listen to that. And give it back. Like, she gives it back. It's not like she steals it permanently. You know how siblings are. I used to steal shit from my sister all the time, and then she'd get it back, and she'd steal shit from me, so, you know, it's how siblings are, you know? Next question, why is Ryan gone? Where is he? Julius. Oh, Julius is joining us. He's got a tongue hanging out of his mouth, doesn't he? I love you. I love you. He has been at college. He rents an apartment off campus with some friends of his. There's like a whole bunch of them living in this apartment, but he pays rent during the semester and then he comes home during the summer so he doesn't have to pay rent. So that's essentially, he's just on campus. Classes are already out for college at this point in time, but he's just been hanging around with his friends for a bit before he goes home. So yeah, he's at college. He goes to college in Olympia. I put a hint to that with the whole album. I mean, with the whole poster in his room. He's going to school in Olympia, Washington. I think this was more of a joke question. One of my readers and actually associates friend, I would consider him a friend, I talked to him a bit, but he asked, Ryan Miller? Is he named after the goalie, Ryan Miller? No, he's not. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. It's a very common name. His name is Ryan James Miller. James is his father's name, so that's his middle name. I know a lot of people whose parents do that. No, Julius. No bark. I know a lot of parents who do that. They have been trying that naming scheme like Rhiannon, Ryan, you know, R, but then by the time Hannah, that's Ren's youngest sister, her mom wanted to name her Hannah, which one version of it with the specific kanji means flower in Japanese. So that's kind of her nod to her mom is part Japanese. Obviously Ren is also part Japanese. It has nothing to do with Ryan. No, yeah, it's just a very common name. That's why I picked it. Next question also I think was a little bit of a joke. Why is Rin locking herself in the bathroom? And the answer is poor writing. I remember this page. I had way too much text for the bubbles, and I don't like to make the text any smaller than 11 points, unless it's like a side thought or something that's not like, you know, a real important aspect to the comic. So I kept trying to figure out how to change the wording to make it fit in the bubble, and I done fucked up. So she's not locking herself in the bathroom. She is locking her bedroom door. The bathroom is outside of her bedroom. And when I go through and edit this for getting it ready for print, I will work on the wording. No one's locking themselves in the bathroom. last question regarding the New Deal. That's the title of the act. Does Rin and Kana moving to the future cause Rin's death? Can't answer that question, but I will say that they're not moving to the future, more so the present, which I'm going to get into whenever I answer some questions for the Comic Fury site, which is the act that I just completed with Ceremony over there. So I can't answer that question. Anything that happened in the past, though, anything that happened prior to the point at which Odysseus departed from the present, it's obviously Rin and Kana's future. It's the readers, we're viewing it as them going to the future, but that's already past. It's already been done. It's already been written. And so anything that did happen up until July 2004 is written in stone and cannot be changed so far as they know. So whatever happened to Rina, we know she's gone missing. We know that Yuli is being very cryptic. He either knows or he doesn't. We don't know if he knows, but he's very cryptic whenever he's just saying goodnight, glad you're alive. Or he's just glad to see her alive. I will let you know that he does not know if she's dead or alive. All he knows is that she's gone missing and it's been years, and so he has assumed she's dead, but it's not known where she is or where her body is if she's dead. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And that's all for the Act 5 revamp questions. I'm moving into answering questions for Ceremony, which is several scenes, several pages ahead. If you don't want spoilers, go to this timestamp, please. And we're off. At the end of Ceremony, Kana and Rina have agreed to go back to the future. Their future, Yuli and Shimiko's present. Their present. They've agreed to go in spite of all the assumed danger. Like, Rin's already almost died twice now. So the question is, do they think this is the only way? And the answer for them is yes. Well, for several reasons. One, they've already, their shitty plan didn't work. They're all exhausted on ideas on what to do. The girls don't really know at this point that only Oshin and the siblings, those are the only people who were able to follow Odysseus to the past. I will be explaining why. That's going to be a flashback scene for Odysseus later in the comic. So I'm leaving that very vague. But as far as they're concerned, they don't know how many more people Keisuma can send back, especially since we know that Kanma has knowledge of the time scrolls. Even though Odysseus destroyed them, the fairy seer is the one who helped him translate them, and she knows what the spell says, and that's why Keisuma has been trying to get Ozias to really put the hammer down on Kanma. He, we don't know, has a good relationship with Kanma. He looks at her as sort of a protege, almost like a child to him. Not a child, but he's taken her on as kind of a protege. So he refuses to be harsh with her, and that's why Keisuma takes him off that and puts this mystery person, Mad Mary, on, putting her to the grindstone. Essentially, Ozias would not torture her, so she's trying to get somebody else to get the job done, to find out what those time scrolls say. Now, obviously, the girls aren't privy to all this information. All they know is that people can travel in time, back in time, and unless they deal with Keisuma, as far as they're concerned, their lives are going to continue being in danger, especially Kana's. The other thing is, we know that Shimiko is extremely powerful. She can teleport, she can touch you and kill you. Shimiko is telling them they have a choice, but Kana and Rina are both by this point 15 already, I think. I had to look up their ages. At any rate, they're not going to take their chances with Shimiko, because she is powerful enough that if she really just told them they have to go, she could make them go. So as far as they're concerned, they kind of have to go to the future, or the present, I should say. They have to go there to help, because there's really no other option. Their hands are tied. They don't know their powers at this point, and so they don't know if they would even be able to take on Shimiko, which probably not. Even once they know what they're doing and how they're fighting, they probably couldn't take Shimiko on. Of this group, she is the most powerful one. So yeah, as far as they're concerned, they think this is the only way to stop Keisuma and to, I mean, really, to save the future. So yeah. Next question. Are they going to practice their magic? Yes. I'm going to have like a little bit of a, not so much of a montage, but I am going to make reference to that in the next chapter, the next act. Which, the next act, I decided I don't like Back to the Present. I'm going to go ahead and call it Time Warp. That's going to be the name of the act. So Time Warp is the next act. And yes, this is going to be addressed. Now, obviously, they're going to get more practice as they actually fight people. But they will practice their powers a little bit as they're traveling. The next question is, are they going to try to address the things that happen in the year 2000? This is regarding like the plague that's released, the terrorist organization, the faction. Are they going to try to stop that? At this point, no. Obviously, Keisuma is the greater threat, which the person who asked that acknowledged that. They pointed that out themselves in the comment. But as evidenced by Odysseus being incapable of changing the past, they are not, at this point in time, going to even try changing the past. Now, maybe when they're done fighting Keisuma, they might contemplate that, but we'll have to see what happens. They would have to get permission from Shimiko, because the time scrolls have now been destroyed. Odysseus took them with him, and Kanma would probably not. We don't know. We'll have to see what Kanma's. I'm not so sure that Kanma would want people willy-nilly traveling through time, and we already know how Shimiko feels about it. Shimiko doesn't want people traveling through time because she's been ordered not to let people travel. So right now it's kind of up in the air. Are they going to try to force Kanma's hand like Keisuma? Would that make them feel like they're being Keisuma? We don't know. So right now, that's kind of up in the air on whether or not they will try to stop the plague. Right now, their main concern is obviously Keisuma and getting Kanma away from her so that Keisuma can't go back to the past and try to change things. Why does Keisuma want to do that? You'll have to read and find out. No answers on that. And then the last question, I got another funny question. I had posted a web short where Rin is trying to get Odysseus to grow some pot for her, some marijuana, and he's like, nah. But Odysseus's power, his element, whereas Rina is water, anything water-based, and Kana is anything light-based. And then we've got Shimiko, whose powers are time and space, kind of darkness-based. Black hole, things like that. Odysseus's element is wood or plants. He can manipulate plants in any way. He's going to end up being one of the main healers. Him and Kana are going to kind of share that power. I think this is kind of like an RPG. A lot of the magic and stuff I was influenced by RPGs, especially like Final Fantasy, that series. Legends of Dragoon, Legend of Mana a little bit. But yeah, kind of like that. So his element is wood, and the question was, can Yuli grow mushrooms? And I'm gonna say no. Like, he could probably produce the wood, the dead, decaying wood that might help grow mushrooms, but his powers are over anything in the kingdom Plante, and mushrooms are in the kingdom Word of Wednesday. Fungi or fungi. I think it's fungi. I say fungi. So I'm gonna say no. However, it would be great to have like a character whose power is to manipulate mushrooms and then have them be like a villain or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. But no, Yuli can't. Well, very short answer, no. I should have just said no. But I wanted to have fun with that. Wow, I got a lot of questions. That was fun though. I liked answering those. Thank you to my patrons at the $10 level or higher. Thank you to my other patrons. You guys really help support me. If anyone out there feels like donating either monthly or one time, I've got Ko-fi, Patreon, Subscribestar for those of you who are pervs and like dirty shit. If I get a subscriber over there, I'll start doing dirty shit, but you know, I don't have any subscribers there right now. But yeah, if you want to support the struggle, all those links are down in the description. And a warm thank you to you all who are patrons. Seriously, you really help keep me motivated and you really help support me. And pretty soon, since my partner now has a job, I'm going to be using some of that money to buy some books to help improve my inking. I already got the Done book, but I've been holding off on getting I wanted to get like a Franzetta book, and then there was one other, like, I think it's written by a bunch of Marvel people that I just found out about a couple weeks ago, and it's supposed to help, like, specifically inkers. So I am going to be getting those books soon, and I wouldn't be able to do that without the support of my patrons. So thank you. I really appreciate that. If you don't have money, I mean, that's why I do all of this for free, is because I've been there. I know what it's like to just be screwed out of not having anything because you don't have any money. So, if you want to show your support in another way, I take likes, subs, sharing the video, sharing the comic links. That's cool too. Only share it with adults though. I don't want kids on my site. It's not even like that dirty. It's just, it's targeting an older audience. Share it with your adult friends and whatever that like fantasy. I need to stop rambling. Anyway, thank you all. Question of the week. Do you like mushrooms? And if so, what's your favorite mushroom? My favorite mushroom, by far... I've talked about mushrooms before. God, there's something wrong with me. When I saw this mushroom question, I was so fucking excited because I love mushrooms. I've always loved mushrooms. I used to go mushroom hunting all the time, and my absolute favorite are morels, but I also really like shiitake mushrooms. They are so versatile. I like the, I think it's Vietnamese maybe, but that mushroom powder, maybe it's Korean. Mommy Tang and Mary's Test Kitchen, they're like YouTubers that I watch for recipes. I absolutely adore them. Them and Rose from Cheap Lazy Vegan. These three women are fucking amazing magical chefs, and they introduced me to the world of mushroom powder, which you can get at Asian food stores. Absolutely amazing. I love it. I like to put it in stock. It gives you that umami flavor. And I'm going on about mushrooms. I really like mushrooms, so I like have a lot of favorite mushrooms. I also really like portobellos, but they're kind of more pricey, so I don't really eat them as much. But yeah, morels are by far my favorite because you can find them. Oh, I also really like oyster mushrooms. I just love mushrooms, you guys. My partner doesn't really like their texture that much, but I find ways to cook them and make them palatable for him. Anyway, that was the question of the week. I need to stop this. Thank you all for watching. Peace and love. Fare you well. And keep on trucking.